look a little strange. Maybe I'll just kind of like mimic it. I don't have anywhere to go. Who am I kidding? What is up, guys? Welcome back. Today, I'm doing another video that I have been noodling on for a really long time. I'm calling it The Power of Less Makeup. Now, I owe this concept entirely to the queen, Miss Nikkie Tutorials, who invented the power of makeup side-by-side video. The whole idea was to show the power that makeup can have in transforming your face, and that makeup is a tool for empowerment, not something that someone should be shamed for, like catfishing, essentially. And she just did one on Adele. I just really enjoy the concept. I'm doing it a little bit differently today, mainly to not shame one way or the other. I'm not saying like, I'm a no makeup person and you shouldn't wear so much makeup. That is not my point. My point in making this video is more of a challenge for using the same products two different ways. And I want to at least challenge myself, but hopefully show that you can get different looks, but with the same products. Like you don't need to go out and buy new products in order to make your collection work for you differently on different days. I love a full beat some days. It makes me feel really powerful. I also love just looking like fresh and just a little delicate dib dab here and there other days. And I think that it's cool to kind of feel comfortable applying makeup both ways because it helps me kind of express myself better. So I'm gonna move you guys in. I'm gonna talk through it because if I do a voiceover, it's gonna be like a really fast video and I don't feel like we'll enjoy ourselves as much. So we're just gonna work through it together. I've got a box of makeup kind of set aside that I pulled from my stash that I think will work well in both instances. And we're just gonna go from there. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and let's go ahead and jump in. I don't know, is that framing working? We shall see. So, the first thing that I'm going to start by putting all over my face is this, because I'm very much enjoying it. This is the new Pleasing by Harry Styles primer thing. This is the luminescent, nope, I'm trying to read it upside down, illuminating pearlescent serum. There we go. Yeah, well, I think this is supposed to be kind of a skincare product. It's awfully tacky when it gets on the skin, and so I think it works beautifully as a primer. So I already have my SPF on. I let it kind of set down a little bit in case they wanted to have a little fight. You know, the textures, I'm not really sure, but what you doing? Looks like we have a little bit of pearlescence just deciding to deposit itself unevenly. Apparently those little pearly spheres are supposed to dissolve as you dispense the product, but got a little pearly sphere happy there. So it is really hydrating. It feels nice and cool on my skin. It has a little tiny bit of like sparkle to it, like a teeny bit, but mostly I do feel like when it dries down, it has a really lovely primer tackiness, and I've been wearing it under my makeup lately and it has been making my makeup last longer, which is awesome. A lot of what you're going to see today has to do with the brushes that I'm using and obviously the amount of product that I'm using. So I'm actually gonna start with the Makeup Forever Reboot, influenced by Miss Amanda Z. She just
yells at me from the closet over there.
But I'm gonna start by applying it over on this side first. This is gonna be my like full beat side basically. And one of the things that I think you'll notice off the bat that I notice all the time when I'm making kind of no makeup videos, it's just that applying less makeup takes longer. A full beat actually goes on a lot faster because you're basically just kind of like wiping everything out and then starting over. There's a fragrance to that, there is. It's a little bit like cleanser-y. I don't use it very much, but we're going to see how it works today. It's a really nice shade match though. I think that that's one of the things that I really enjoy about it is that it's a little bit darker than some of the other foundations that I've been using lately. I've been having to do so much work to try and like deepen my skin back up to make it not look like a porcelain doll, because I always think, it's like a lot of people think they're tanner than they are. I always think I'm paler than I am. So I want to see if that can kind of build. I want to really try and get some coverage out of it. And I'm gonna be using the Hourglass powder too, which definitely has some coverage. And I'm just going to apply that on this side, really thin it out. And all I'm gonna be concentrating on is the parts of my face that I want to kind of be this color, if that makes sense. So my concealer is going to be more of a brightening and coverage situation. But like, all I'm doing here is just saying, okay, well, I want to make sure that that like color is a little bit even, but like I don't want to cover my freckles up or anything. And I think that one of the biggest things that I'm always trying to achieve with like less makeup is to really only end up with like one layer of makeup on my skin, with the exception of my blush, obviously. But I saw it on TikTok actually recently being like, you know, the 1 layer makeup challenge or something. And I was like, dude, I do that all the time. It's just about how you package it, right? But like, you know, dots of colors and stuff like that, and then just blending it all, and that accomplishing your complexion look all in one step. This has had a chance to dry down. I'm gonna build it just a little bit. Try and get some coverage over my freckles, my pigmentation. If you guys have watched my, I call it my overcompensating makeup look. It's when I'm like not feeling super awesome, either physically or mentally, and I need to compensate with makeup and like feel really, really ultra powerful. It's when I go for like fuller coverage and I really, really go in on like my contouring and stuff. And it does, man, it totally changes my mood. Okay, next I'm gonna go in with my Kosas concealer because I think that this is, I always talk about like the differences between all of my concealers. There are concealers that work really well for coverage, and then there are ones that work really well for like hydration. This one's right in the middle. I feel like it has a lot more flexibility than anything else in my collection. So we're gonna go like full brightening. This is 01, this shade. We're gonna go full brightening on this side. I'm gonna kind of try and like contour, some might say distort this side of my face. We're gonna be catfishing, okay? To the best of my ability. I'm not like the world's greatest makeup artist, but I do like to play with shadow and light. And like I said, since you're putting more makeup on, in this case, you can still use a bigger brush because it's like a bigger area that you're applying it to. I'm always concentrating, right, on like pulling the light towards the parts of my face that the light would hit anyway. But look at that. Like, look at what that does. Just kind of lifts everything. It chisels right there. Put it right here. And it doesn't have to be super, super high contrast still in order to achieve that. It's also, like I talk about all the time, about how the light plays on the texture that you've created. So as I have kind of mattified that, and more than mattifying even, I've evened out the texture on that side of my face versus natural skin and the way light hits it. I have basically given the eye like less to concentrate on, right? You perceive it as something that's more perfected, even if it's like less realistic. For a less is more type look, I'm really just going to concentrate on my deepest pigmentation areas. So I'm completely reconcentrating my attention on like what I'm trying to accomplish here, which is covering a little bit of my pigmentation. That was like a recurring zit all summer that like refused to die. It just kept coming back from the dead, and it resulted in a really great little dark spot. And this is such like Lisa Eldridge type concealing, you know, the pinpoint concealing. There's always something to be said for, you know, like I said, blanking everything out and starting over and having total control over what you want everything to look like. But even though it takes longer, if you want to end up with less makeup on your face, it's more about, you know, selective application, because the parts that you want to cover, really, they're not that big of a part of your face. So we got freckles, we got low coverage, we got a little bit of primer going on, and then we got like this fully blanked out situation. Let's do a little bit of contouring. And I contour. I did find my brush, by the way. Where did it go? Monkey toes. I do typically use every product. Like, I still do almost every step. Even when I'm doing a no makeup look, it really is just about putting less of it on and where I put it. Contouring here. And I'm not really trying to like exaggerate on this side necessarily. This is how I would do my makeup if I were wanting to feel really powerful and chiseled. Like, I don't really want it to be like over dramatized, but I'm just gonna do it right underneath my chin. That's always where I do it. Blend. Yeah, really go in on my forehead here. That reboot's great though, isn't it? What a nice finish. It's very like satin, but closer to natural. Like, it has a nice little radiance to it. lift, lift. That's what I like to do with contour, is lift. Lift the nose. And we're basically adding shadow where there is already shadow. I'm not trying to draw a new face on or anything like that. I always say, if you're not sure where to start with contour, find an overhead lighting situation, like a bathroom light over a mirror, turn the other lights out and just have the overhead mirror on, and take a step back and it'll cast all the shadows on your face. And that's where you'll see the way that your face would like naturally contour. And then you can just exaggerate that. And it is about finding the right color too, because for me, it needs to be pretty gray. I mean, I've seen Tati believably contour with orange, and I don't understand. I mean, it's obviously not orange, but it's like tan, and somehow it totally works on her. I need like neutral to cool in order to make like a believable shadow. So just a tibbity touch here. But what I like about, I'm using the Patrick Ta one. What I like about this one is like the color is just so believable, and it is actually pretty translucent. It doesn't really add a lot of coverage. So I can wear it with like a no makeup look, and I don't feel like it looks really phony. You know, it's kind of the same color as my freckles. Almost just looks like I have a little more clustering of freckles in these spots that I would like to gently contour. Just a little. Okay, I just have an itch. Full stop. Oh my God, it itches so much. I hate that. Now that's gonna be red forever. Forever. Okay, now we shall bronze in the same fashion. So I'm going to start with this big boy right here. This is the 102 from BK. I'm still working in the Patrick Ta bronzer here. And I'm just gonna go on top, like the area on top, not like directly on top of the contour, but like, you know, if I were out in the sun, my cheeks would probably get kind of tan, but like, we're definitely taking liberties over here. And I'm shortening my forehead with that too. It's kind of creating a gradient, right? Where it's like, this is a little cooler tone, this is a little warmer tone, and the cream versus the powder texture, it kind of makes it diffuse a little bit. I'll do that on my neck. And a little bit on my nose that I would, you know, typically apply directly to the top of my nose, but I'm trying to only get it on half. See? Ooh, we're lifted. Look how lifted we are. Yes. And I've still got this bright red spot on my eyebrow. And then I'm going to take a slightly smaller brush. This is the BK 104, and I'm going to bronze the other side. And it's gonna actually be more noticeable on this side, as it turns out, because there's less complexion product underneath. So almost thinking about it differently, like, what am I trying to achieve, right? Trying to achieve something that looks really polished and finished and snatched on this side. And then on this side, it's like I'm actually trying to mimic nature a little bit more. And so if I were out in the sun and, you know, my freckles were showing and everything, I would probably get quite a bit of color on my cheeks. And it does, it appears totally differently on this side. And for like a no makeup look, sometimes I probably would use a cream bronzer, but I'm trying to use the same products here to demonstrate, like I said, that it isn't really about the products, it's about how you use them. And also, I can use a finishing spray at any point, you know what I mean? And like change the look. But look at that. Look at the difference there. Just like using bronzer as like a more of a nature mimicking flush over here versus using it as like a contour strategy over here. We end up with something that's so much more like full. It just has a completely different vibe. And then this is just Bella Hadid who? That's what I'm going for. Okay, blush. This is always my favorite part. I'm gonna start with Flirtatious from Pat McGrath. I almost said Patrick Ta. And the reason that I'm doing this is because this is one of the most flexible blush formulas that I have ever used. It watercolors so beautifully. It's super, super blurring, and you can kind of apply it as the day is long. In a look where I am going for something a little bit more snatched, I'm going to go for something that's a little bit more subtle on the blush side. I mean, you know, for me, which is probably more blush than most people would wear anyway, but I don't want it to kind of take away from all the work that I just did with the contouring and everything. So I'm just applying a touch there. And then I'm gonna apply that like really like right on top of the bronzer on this side. And I actually tend to kind of pull my blush down a little bit lower when I like want to accomplish something that looks natural, because it's gonna mimic like the fjords of it all. If I were to take a lap, it would warm the whole situation. It wouldn't just be like this lifted flush right on the top of my cheeks. And I'm also like working more towards the center because I feel like it looks more believable when you have less complexion product on. Whereas here you kind of want to leave a highlight on the like inner triangle of your face to make it look more lifted and like almost cat-like, I guess. I'm using a lot of hand signals. Hope you guys enjoy that. Okay, next I'm gonna go with my Milani Luminoso. And I'm just gonna touch that over here to bring the light onto my cheeks, bring a little bit of warmth, a little bit of a change in texture, make everything look even more perfected. And over here I'm just gonna like do what makes me happy. Like zero strategy, just go. Yee, right on the apples of the cheeks, just go in, you know? Now, something that I think is, I don't know, kind of a common misconception is that, you know, if you want to do a no makeup look, then it has to be no powder, because powder is going to make you look made up. Not necessarily. I still enjoy powder for its ability to either completely mattify or to selectively mattify and add coverage when you have a low coverage situation already. So I'm actually gonna do this side first. Using my Wayne Goss Extinct brush, this is the O2. I'm just using the Hourglass powder because it adds quite a bit of coverage, and I'm building the coverage right where I put my concealer. Just in those little spots where not only I want a little bit more coverage, but also I just want to change the way that the light hits it. I have glitter on my face. There will be glitter till the end of time, I think, as a result of my favorites video. You see, I just kind of put it in a couple of areas, and all it really does is make it so that the light isn't like reflecting off of those spots. And then this is definitely one of those situations where it's like a lot faster to apply to the other side. I'm not even gonna put it everywhere, but I'm gonna put it a lot of places over here and just really get a good set down. A little bit more bulletproof, you know? Look at that. Like this side looks obviously lower and this one looks really lifted, but those are just two different things that I would be going for. Grabbing my Salt New York palette real quick, and I'm gonna go in with that same freaking Beauty Pie brush that I only have one of. And I'm gonna use that to kind of just add a touch of reflection that kind of breaks up that line right there that you can't really see is highlighter necessarily. It's just the beige, and it's pretty translucent. It just adds a little bit of like a mixing medium, but then on this side, I'm gonna use it to like go in, you know? A light catching, perfected, better than reality kind of situation. See? I do think we need more blush on this side. I kind of want to go in with a little bit of this. Am I crazy? Maybe. And I think I want to do the cream. I've already been working with the creams. So this is the Patrick Ta Oh She's Different. I think it is one of the most effective Fjordsy shades. I forgot to include it in my Fjords Fest video. I'm an idiot. I was really running on like no fumes at all in that video and during that time period in my life, but I appreciate you guys cutting me a little bit of slack. Pow, 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 pow. You know? Okay, I'm gonna give this a spritz with Fix Plus just to like set the party because things were getting a little mucky over here. It happens, it does. And while that's happening, let's do my brows. So I actually like to do more brow on a no makeup look. Like I like it to be kind of blown out and a little bit more like organic and natural looking. And then I like a more groomed brow when I'm doing a more chiseled look. is less product on this side because I'm going for individual hairs kind of, but the brown mousse is going to be more chaotic. And I'm brushing them straight up like that. And then this is going to be like, you know, trying to look a little more fierce. Trying. Bet you didn't know that there were different moods your eyebrows could have. You probably did know that. See? Next we're gonna go in on my eyes and we're going to go with my Gucci palette. I'm gonna be showing this to you guys today in action. I have been really enjoying this palette actually. It's great for achieving like different scales of look, if that makes sense. Like I've gotten some really, really beautiful, like low key, like you almost don't even know it's there kind of eyeshadow. And then there's like these really bright colors. And even though they're adventurous colors, they still are super cooperative and they wash really beautifully. So I'm just gonna be playing in kind of the more natural neutral tones today, but I'm going to kind of, you know, achieve a little something different on each eye. I'm gonna start with just a wash of pink on this side, light pink. Because you don't need to work very hard when you don't have a whole lot else going on to make the eye perceive like, oh, that's a different thing there. You don't have to make it super high contrast when the rest of your face isn't high contrast. So I'm just using a little bit of pink, and then I'm gonna use this like cool toned kind of khaki tan color right here in the crease, really right above the crease. It's like the crease if I were to close my eye, and pull that out. And I'm really, more than anything, like playing with what's already there. I'm gonna take a little bit of the white, mix it with the pink, and go on my lid with it. Do that kind of up here. More than anything, it's just, again, changing the texture and making everything look a little bit more intentional, a little bit more consistent. A little tiny bit more of that khaki tone. Pull it onto the lid just a touch. And we'll go in with an inner corner highlight kind of at the end. The only other thing I want to do here is just take a little bit of like this kind of, it's like a duochrome. It goes kind of pink purple or pink orange, orange purple, peachy orange. I just malfunctioned. It's kind of a peachy purple pink. And I'm just gonna go right on the inner like front of my lash line right there. And all that's gonna do is just like it's gonna catch the light. That's it, you know? And kind of bring that up right into the crease, just right in the center as a highlight. Boom. Pull that V in just a little, make sure it kind of makes sense. And make sure that it's super well blended over here. You don't want there to be anything that the eye immediately just like gloms onto. It's like, that's a mistake. That's weird and inconsistent. Okay, and then I'm going to use those same shades over on this side. But I'm going to just go in a little harder on the deeper tones and incorporate a little bit more depth. A couple other colors. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm really exaggerating the contour that I already tried to create from my eye socket up to my temple. And that's, again, it's gonna kind of pull the whole face in that direction. See? Loop, 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 like that. And I'm gonna take a slightly deeper brown and I'm going to work that right at the top of the crease. So I'm basically just increasing the intensity of this side over here, like going one level deeper. Ooh, but it makes the brown in my eye pop. I'm gonna kind of mix those two together, get a nice little blend going. But as you can see, it's a very, very agreeable formula. Something that's very key to making this work is actually making sure that the opacity is really there. If you can see your, in my case, like veins underneath your eyeshadow, it kind of disrupts the continuity of a very, very perfected look. I'm just taking that white right there. And again, accentuating the contours that are already there. I'm actually going to take a little bit of this purple right here and take that onto the lid. So it's just a slightly more exaggerated, smokier look. Gonna grab the pink. That's gonna kind of connect the ideas here. I'm gonna grab a pencil brush to get some detail underneath my eye. Both that pink and that purple. I always lean forward so that like the fallout doesn't land on my face if there is any. Grabbing a little bit of the pink and a little bit of that khaki shade that's like almost like a contour, and using that to smoke out the lower lash line, like that. And then the final step is I'm gonna take that shimmery shade, that duochrome that I could not describe, and I'm gonna connect the dots again right there, but I'm gonna do it a lot more intensely. And even the really, really shimmery shades in here play so beautifully without stealing the show. So I'm just kind of going all the way up the middle with that. Grabbing that same pencil brush, I'm going into an inner corner highlight here. This is the Aether Crushed Diamond. I think this is like sold out. It's kind of hard to find. I don't think it's on our website right now. I love this thing. I still feel like an inner corner highlight is very functional, regardless of like how much makeup you're wearing. It's just like about how much you put on. I don't think that like no makeup has to be unfun, you know? Like who cares if people know you're wearing makeup? It's more just about kind of whatever you're trying to achieve that day. And I'm gonna do some eyeliner out of that Gucci palette too. And the only difference really is going to be the two brushes that I'm using. So I'm gonna use a pointy brush on this side and get like a really defined kind of, you know, upper wing. And then I'm going to use a more blunt tool here, and I'm just gonna make a really soft, you know, blurred wing. But I'm gonna be using the same color, and it's like this black that I feel like might have a little touch of blue in it, but it might also just be that it's sitting next to a blue and it's like distorting my perception of it. There we have our defined wing. I know you probably like Kackie, that's not really a full beat, you know, it's not like going all the way up to your hairline, but that's what I'm comfortable with, okay? I'm just going to do really soft here. See? Quick and easy. Let's throw in some brow mousse, and like I said, I'm going to use it to kind of groom on this side and like blow my brows up on that side. Let's throw on some mascara, shall we? I still like some Wapow on my lashes, regardless, but I find that it is actually more effective to mainly focus on like the outer half of my lashes to achieve the kind of illusion that I'm going for, versus, you know, just piling it on when I've done this much work to contour my eye. God bless a magnifying mirror. Okay, another step here is I feel like adding just a little bit more powder underneath the eye on the full coverage side, because I'm trying to achieve perfection here. Blur, 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 perfection, perfection, you know? I'm just gonna line my lips on this side pretty aggressively, get some contour going. Because there actually is a natural way to line your lips, you know? You can just kind of follow the natural line, because my lips kind of are a little darker around the edges anyway, so I'm just using that. The Westman Atelier Squeaky Clean Liquid Lip Balm here. Could be really anything that's like a nude for you, but the main thing here is that lip liner acts as a contour. Ooh, ooh, these are like the same colors. No wonder I was inspired to do this to my nails. I was like, that looks familiar. This is like my Kackie lip liner, and this is like the Squeaky Clean Lip Balm in Nana. Wow. You know, and this side looks a little bit more like plumped, a little bit more surreal. And then this just looks a little bit more natural, but still enhanced because that's why I wear makeup. All right, and I'm just gonna add like a little tiny bit more of the cream blush on this side. A little bit in the eye look. A little bit on the tip of my nose. Boop, boop, boop. Yeah, that's a little more me, huh? She says, pounding blush on her face. And that, my friends, is the power of less makeup. So here we have this like fully snatched, like, at least in my book, right? Full beat kind of look. And then on this side, it's like, that would be kind of my normal everyday. And I know that that's not no makeup for a lot of people. I still wanted to use every single product and just use it a little bit differently because I think that part of the, I don't know, the practice and like the practice for me definitely of as my skin improved and as my tastes changed and as I wanted just more flexibility in my looks day to day, I wanted to move towards wearing less makeup, but like I didn't really know how. And over the years, I've learned that it really isn't about thinking of it in terms of limitations. It's not like, oh, I have to skip steps or I have to become comfortable looking at flaws on my face that I'm uncomfortable with, not covering something that I would feel more comfortable covering on my face, that kind of thing. Yeah, it's like not so much about kind of stepping outside your comfort zone as it is just kind of like broadening your understanding of what your products can achieve without even, you know, having to buy new products. So I hope that this was fun for you guys. This is at least how I think of makeup. I don't know why this piece of hair insists on like being part of my makeup look today, but I'm sorry. You're not allowed. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this today. I look a little strange. Maybe I'll just kind of like mimic it on the, I don't have anywhere to go. Who am I kidding? I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you want to keep hanging out with me on this channel, hit the button down below and subscribe. I would love it if you guys did. Thank you so much for watching and for hanging out with me today. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.